You wake up at 4:47 a.m. Not because you want to, because Singapore just opened and your phone is already vibrating with 3 different WhatsApp groups screaming about a shipping delay in the Strait of Hormuz. You don't hit snooze. You can't afford to. While you were sleeping, someone just made or lost 40 million on a cargo you might have brokered yesterday. You're not selling oil, you're selling air. The space between a refinery in Rotterdam that needs 500,000 barrels of Urals crude and a trader in Houston who controls a tanker that's currently floating off the coast of Malta. Your job is to make them find each other, trust each other, and close a deal before the market moves and the opportunity evaporates. Pocket anywhere from 50 cents to $3 per barrel. On a good month, you're clearing $400,000. On a legendary month, you break 7 figures. But here's the thing, you're only as good as your last deal. You went to a semi-target school, think Tulane, University of Texas, or American University. Not Wharton. The Ivy League kids went to Goldman Sachs. You went hungry. You started as a junior broker at a mid-tier shop in London or Geneva, making $45,000 a year plus commission, which was zero for your first 8 months. You got screamed at daily by Russians who didn't care about your feelings, by Chinese state trading companies who hung up if you wasted 10 seconds, by Swiss trading houses that would blacklist you forever if you misquoted a price by 30 cents. You learned that in oil trading, your reputation is the only currency that matters. Not your degree, not your suit, your word. By 5:15 a.m., you're on your third espresso, scanning Bloomberg, Platts, Argus Median. You're watching Brent crude futures, freight rates, refinery margins in Asia, sanctions updates, weather patterns in the Gulf of Mexico. You're on the phone, always on the phone. AirPods in, pacing your apartment, then the street outside. You talk to 80 people before lunch. You're speaking English with a Russian trader, then Mandarin with a Chinese buyer, then back to English with a Texas accent for an independent refiner in Corpus Christi. I've got a VLCC, very large crude carrier, 2 million barrels of Arab Light, loading Ras Tanura in 10 days. My seller is firm at data Brent plus $2.40. I need a buyer. You interested? You already know 5 potential buyers. You've been building this network for 6 years. You broker 200 deals a year. The actual humans involved never meet. A Swiss trading house you represent has never even spoken to the end buyer, a refinery consortium in South Korea. They both trust you because you've never lied about volume, quality, timing, or price. Not once. You've also done something else. You remember everything. You remember that this Korean buyer prefers low sulfur crude because their refinery configuration can't handle sour grades. You remember that your Swiss seller has access to distressed cargoes, oil stuck at sea, because the original buyer defaulted, which you can move at a discount. You connect the dots faster than anyone else. You're not taking inventory, you're not storing oil, you're not chartering tankers, you're a pure middleman, most precarious and most lucrative position. Your fee comes from the spread. If you can negotiate the seller down to $72.30 per barrel and the buyer up to $72.80, you just made 50 cents on 500,000 barrels. That's $250,000. Your cut? Maybe 125. Split with your firm. But you're doing 15 to 20 deals a month. You're stacking. Your biggest month ever? 1.8 million personal take home. That was the month Russia invaded Ukraine and European refineries were panic buying alternative crude sources. You knew every non-Russian supplier with spare capacity. You worked 19-hour days for 5 weeks straight. You've been burned. A counterparty defaulted on a 1 million barrel cargo. Your firm lost 3 million in margin calls and you lost your commission. Your boss blamed you. You almost quit. You've also watched brokers get blacklisted for one bad call, misjudging a seller's creditworthiness, double brokering a cargo, or leaking sensitive information. In oil trading, you die once. There's no second chance. You've had traders yell at you in Arabic, Russian, Mandarin, and English all in the same hour because a tanker was delayed and the deal unraveled. You've had friends at other brokerages poach your clients. You've had sleepless weeks wondering if the market will collapse and your entire income stream will vanish. You live in Geneva, London, Dubai, or Singapore. You wear a $6,000 watch not because you care about watches, but because when you meet a Saudi Aramco executive at a conference, they need to know you're serious. You fly business class 80 times a year. You've had coffee in Houston, lunch in Geneva, and dinner in Abu Dhabi, all in the same week. You're single or divorced, or your relationship is hanging by a thread because you answered your phone during your anniversary dinner when a $60 million deal was closing. You don't have hobbies. You have a boat you take out twice a year. Because when you close a monster deal, a 2 million barrel cargo between a West African producer and a Chinese refinery, netting you $800,000 in one transaction, you feel like a god because you've built a Rolodex that's worth $80 million in deal flow because the market never sleeps and neither do you, and that's exactly how you like it. You're not a banker, you're not a consultant, you're a mercenary in the most volatile, ruthless market on earth. And every single day, you're one phone call away from your next million. Most brokers wash out in 2 years. What about the ones who make it? They're the ones who can handle rejection 47 times before closing on the 48th call. They're the ones who build trust in an industry built on paranoia. They're the ones who understand that in oil, the money isn't in the ground, it's in the phone call.